I'm Ashleigh and I'm the Senior Carnivore Keeper here at Marwell Wildlife.
What does being the Senior Carnivore Keeper entail?
A bit of everything really. Some days I could be supporting the team, filling in various bits of paperwork. Other days I'm out around the zoo looking after the animals.
Which animals do you look after?
So I'm on the carnivore department, and that involves anything that's classed as a carnivore. So that can be anything from the big cats all the way down to the meerkats.
Now we're at the snow leopards. They are incredible, beautiful creatures. Tell us about them.
I think so as well. They're a really fun species to work with. They are such an interesting species. They primarily are from Central Southeast Asia, so mainly in the Himalayan regions. These guys are very well adapted to extreme cold and high altitudes. And what people don't realise is that they are more related to tigers than they are leopards, even though they are called snow leopards, but they are a really fascinating cat to work with as well. You know, these cats can jump anywhere between 9 to 10 metres. They are perfectly adapted to the extreme cold temperatures of their natural habitat. Their front legs are a little bit shorter than their back legs, and their paws are massive, so they're almost like snowshoes. Another really interesting fact that I always like to say is that tail can actually act as a scarf when it gets really cold, and they'll often be seen wrapped around their faces to keep their faces nice and warm.
Can they be very fast? Because in my head, a leopard is fast.
Absolutely. They have to be very stealthy more than fast. As you can imagine, you know, their natural habitat is quite sparse. There's not a lot of cover. It's high altitude mountain ranges. So when they are stalking prey, they're normally going to be either coming from above or below. So they have to be extremely quick reacting, and also extremely sure-footed, because these, you know, steep slopes can be extremely steep. So yeah, you'll often see videos of snow leopards hunting and just falling down the mountainside after their prey, but they are pretty hardy. You know, it's why they've got such short legs and tail for balance.
In the wild, are they in packs or are they fairly solitary?
So naturally they are a solitary species. When a female will have cubs, the cubs will normally stay with her for approximately 2 years. There has been cases of cubs when they're older coming back to mum's territory, but primarily, yes, they are a solitary species. Male and female territories can overlap. In a more captive environment, there has been quite a lot of success with keeping either mum and cubs a bit longer, brothers and sisters together a bit longer, or even male and females if you're not breeding together. So our previous pair, even though we weren't breeding them, we still kept them together. And you know, they're not in competition. They get food from us, so they're not competing for any prey, and also, you know, the prey availability that they would find in the wild, they're obviously having to compete with another snow leopard potentially, or other carnivores for those prey items. So as I say, there's no competition here, so they are quite, as I said, quite tolerant of each other and very affectionate. Our previous pair were often seen together, grooming each other, sleeping together, that kind of thing. Currently here at Marwell we have 2 snow leopards, Warjun and Zaya, a male and female. They haven't been with us that long. Warjun is coming up to 3 and Zaya is coming up to 2 years old. She came to us in February, so she's very new, and she came to us from the Big Cat Sanctuary. And Warjun came to us from the Czech Republic.
And you have a male and a female. You know, you haven't just sort of pulled one out of the hat, you know. Is that on purpose? Is that because you're hoping that they may breed in the future?
Yeah, so they are a part of the EEP, which is based around conserving snow leopards. The breeding programme is heavily managed by a stud bookkeeper, so we have to wait for a recommendation, but we are hopeful that we will get one.
So Warjun was already here, and then Zaya, the female, was brought in as well. How do they interact in the beginning? What happens there? Do they sort of immediately click?
It very much depends on the individual and the species. Snow leopards are very tolerant species. They're quite an affectionate species, but also the individual. So normally we would do a slow introduction if we were planning on mixing, which we are hoping to do. So you'll see behind me there's a dividing fence, and we basically give them access to either side, and then what you would do is you can slowly introduce them. So you can take the feces of one and pop it in the other side so they can smell. I mean, they can see and smell each other through that dividing fence anyway, but what we're looking for is really positive behaviours. Lots of chuffing, which is an affectionate vocal noise snow leopards use.
And what's it called? Chuffing?
Chuffing, yep. Lots of head rubbing, so just like your house cat at home, they'll head rub against you to show affection. They will do that to each other.
And is it when you see those things happen that you think, okay, we're on to something here?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as long as we're not seeing any severe aggressions, there's going to be some warnings. You know, if they've got food or something else, it's natural for them to warn each other off of their food, which is why we don't tend to feed our cats together like you would, say, for instance, lions, because they are technically a solitary species and they would eat on their own. But what we're looking to see is those really positive behaviours. Once we've seen all them, it's literally a case of opening the slide. Lots of monitoring, lots of behaviour observations. We're very lucky here. We have cameras around the perimeter, so we can watch the cameras when we're not here, sometimes to the detriment of the staff, because we tend to watch it at night when we should be at home sleeping. But yeah, so it's literally just monitoring their behaviour and seeing how they go.
What is yowling?
So interestingly enough, snow leopards can't roar, so like tigers can, for instance. So one of their vocalizations is yowling, that will indicate to other snow leopards their location, and they often do it sort of late afternoon, evenings.
And what does it sound like?
It's quite a long, drawn-out, high-pitched noise.
So what's it like being a keeper of snow leopards? Tell us about the jobs that you have to do.
It's very varied. On a day-to-day basis, we do our standard sort of safety checks, health checks of the animals, making sure they're all where they're supposed to be and healthy. It's a variety of different things, so these guys don't get fed every day. We mimic how they would naturally eat in the wild. So, for instance, in the summer, they would take down a large prey item, like a blue sheep, which is a wild sheep, and they would consume that almost in one sitting, and then they wouldn't hunt again until they're hungry. So we try and replicate that here, so they may get a large feed. So currently they are on a varied diet, so they have hare, rabbits, horse, pheasant, they have chicken, they have goat, sheep, and as much variety as we can give them, and depending on the size, the amount that we give them will depend on how many days then we don't feed them for. We also have a positive life experience program. So this is where we are trying to encourage as many natural behaviours as possible as you would see in the wild. And that can involve anything from adding in scent, so we will use feces from other species, so we'll go and collect some of the hoofstock feces or bedding. I often joke we're the only kind of team that actually take feces out of bins rather than putting it in. So yeah, lots of different things we use to encourage those natural behaviours.
There's an amazing experience that you can have here at Marwell called the Large Carnivores Experience. What could you expect from something like that?
Yeah, so the Large Carnivore Experience is where you would meet two of the carnivore keepers who would take you to go and see either the snow leopards or the Amur tigers that we have here at Marwell. It's behind the scenes where you would get to meet our snow leopards or tigers. As they're animals, you can never guarantee anything, but they're normally very good and come over to say hi. And we do offer the feeding of the cats as well. So usually that would entail shutting the cats into their off-show area, and then the person on the experience would come and help us hang the meat up, put some positive life experience out, things like that. Any questions they have we can ask, but we are happy always to talk about our cats here at Marwell. So yeah, it's just as much as they want to know, we are happy to give them that information.